And you end up meeting a number of people in these events.
Yeah.
How do you sustain that?
So firstly is selecting the right event.
But if somebody doesn't have anything substantial as a product to offer, how will networking work in that case?
There needs to be some emotional message, and that comes back to how do you network?
We might have our listeners who are very young entrepreneurs or just getting there, just started their career. What's your one advice to them? How do they start their networking in an event like this where they don't have the right introductions?
And connect with 5 people. And what do I mean by that? I should have 5 conversations with people that they're memorable. Yeah.
How do you keep in touch? How does that initial conversation turn into a meaningful networking relationship?
And to look for have meaningful conversations with people. Don't just rush from one person to the next to the next.
So today on this show, we're not going to talk about where to get the next funding from or how do you build the next unicorn. We might touch on that, but mainly we're going to talk about human connections, about networking. We keep hearing this phrase that your network is your net worth. Let's decode that today. Let's find out. Let's find out that if you're an introvert or you have this social anxiety, how do you break that and build your network and so much more? Our guest today is someone special, and that's why I'm very excited. He's written this book called Breaking Bread, and it talks about how you can make relationships that last for a very long time and how you can build on them. So let's just dive in and talk to Gautam. Gautam, welcome to Deep Talks.
Thank you so much, Jatin. A pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. I've read the book, and there is so much to learn from this book. So let's start directly by the title of this book, Breaking Bread. I often say Breaking Bad, it's such a famous show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and tell us, how did you close on this title, Breaking Bread?
Yeah, it's a great way to start. And that, breaking bread was a term that I learned in the UK, where
Okay.
I was born in London, lived there for a good 20 years. And breaking bread really mean when, people came together for a meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or, the Sunday ritual of our Sunday meal that you have with the family.
Right.
They always say families that eat together stay together. And breaking bread was really about having a meal, be it with family, be it with friends. And that's genuinely where the term came from. If one goes back in time, it goes back to bread, water, and sort of that connection over food.
Right.
And that's really where the name came about, because I was being invited to speak at an event in Goa to a speakers association. They said, Gautam, you seem to have relationships with CEOs of large organizations. You seem to be connected to global speakers. You seem very comfortable with people from different cultures. We'd love you to just come and speak to us about how to build relationships.
Right.
So I was invited to a keynote on that topic, and I said, I don't want to just have a topic saying building relationships. You want to have a title which is sort of intriguing, it quirky, it arouses curiosity.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let me term the talk Breaking Bread. And that was back in 2019, actually 2020, January. I delivered that talk. And then we soon went into COVID. And, people have been saying, Gautam, you've been working with authors, speakers, coaches. How about you write your own book? And I always procrastinate. I said, someday we'll see when it's the right time. No time like COVID, because you had a lot of time at home. And I said, if I don't write a book now, then when? And my talk had been transcribed. And I titled my talk Breaking Bread, Building Meaningful Relationships.
Okay.
So that's how the book title came about from that talk in Goa, which was titled Breaking Bread. It was transcribed. And then I said, let me put this into a simple yet powerful book with some true stories of my experience of breaking bread, which I have done over the last 25 years in business.
Right, right. So the book talks about your experiences meeting with people, influential people, CEOs, a number of people you met in your life, where you build your relationship over lunch or dinner, and
Yeah.
and about networking in general. Is that the book all about?
Yeah, I would say that it just wants to make, clear the myth about networking, where
Right.
people think of networking as something where it's just about exchanging cards at an event. That's very transactional. For me, when you attend an event, it's about how many conversations do you have, what time do you take to connect with people. So really, the book really shares 5 strategies of how you can break bread. Obviously, the one about breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal is one concept. But what I share in the book really is a reflection of my learnings of my life, where people have asked me, Gautam, what's the number one marketing strategy? Is it radio, newspaper, TV, social media? PR. What is that? And I said, none of them. The number one strategy for building relationships and marketing and building your brand is breaking bread. And that's where they've asked, what does breaking bread mean? I said, it's actually what it boils down to is an emotional connect with your audience.
Right.
So whether it's in the meal side of it, when you're on social media, for
Yeah.
example, you could just write a content to write someone happy birthday. We get endless messages for our birthdays and occasions.
Yeah.
But when you put meaning to it, suppose I said, hi, Jatin, happy birthday. And I put a photograph of us when we met. There's an emotion connect. That photograph triggers a memory, triggers a thought. Or I share a video and I send you a video, said, hi Jatin, wishing you a very happy birthday, have an awesome day. You will not forget that wish. So breaking bread is when you make an emotional connect, when you communicate, whether it's in social media, whether it's in WhatsApp, whether it's over an email. We don't want things to be transactional. We want things to be relational. So the communication style is what breaking bread goes into, which ultimately leads to how do you build your relationships through networking.
Right, right. But tell me about networking in general.
Yeah.
There are too many events on a daily basis, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
you're invited to many of them.
Correct.
And you end up meeting a number of people in these events.
Yeah.
How do you sustain that? Like you met like 20 people over the span of 15 days in multiple events.
Yes.
How do you keep in touch? How does that initial conversation turn into a meaningful networking relationship?
It's a great question because there's no shortage of events to network. So
Yeah.
firstly, I would say is understanding where you're networking is really important because there's no shortage of networking. So if it's from a business standpoint, one's addressing it, then one wants to say, okay, who's your target audience? So in my case, example is HR leaders, CEOs and entrepreneurs. So I want to make sure the events I'm attending, if I'm attending from a business standpoint, is the right audience that I'm going to be meeting people who I can add value and at the same time there is a good quality conversation that's going to come. If you're going from a social angle, then you look less at
Right.
that. So, firstly, is selecting the right event. Now, when you go to these events, there's no shortage of shaking hands and meeting
That's it.
people.
Yeah.
And you're like, I met a lot of people. I said, but how many people did you connect with? And they paused. They're like, connect with? I said, how many people did you have a conversation with? No, I just said hi to like 30 people. I said, hi to 30 people is just visibility.
Right.
They said, Gautam, what do you do? I said, I can make a commitment to meet and connect with 5 people. And what do I mean by that? I should have 5 conversations with people that they're memorable. That actually I'm even able to write an email. Hi, Jatin. It was an absolute pleasure meeting with you yesterday. You shared your interest in a particular book. I highly recommend this podcast. And next time you're looking at something of an event, then look at this. So you feel, my God, there was some context and some meaning to the conversation. It wasn't like, it was great meeting at the event. Can we connect on LinkedIn? That's transactional.
Yeah.
There needs to be some emotional message. And that comes back to how do you network? First, selection and to look for have meaningful conversations with people. Don't just rush from one person to the next to the next.
Yeah.
So really that's
But this seems like a lot of work that you probably need to put in behind the scenes and before you venture, or becomes a second nature to you when you do it over a course of time.
yeah.
So watch it, because when I'm listening to what you're saying, you walk into an event, hundreds of people, and then you find those 5 people. You get a lot of fake conversations also coming in. How do you do you think you hit that target every time you go out, meet 5 brand new people, and have great conversations with?
Yeah, it's never easy when you do it for the first time.
Yeah.
And when you do it first few times, you have to really make a lot of effort, no question about it. You have to consciously do it. But once you've done that and you experience the value, you feel a lot happier, you feel fulfilled, you feel there was meaning in that time. You're taking valuable time out of your schedule, either work or personal time, to go to an event. You want to leave fulfilled, happy, and content, not necessarily leads to business, but you feel I enjoyed connecting with some people I know. I met some new people but had good quality conversations. So you have left a memorable that someone remembers who you are when they meet you next. So at these events, when you go, yes, it's a conscious lot of effort in the beginning, and then it becomes a gradual habit. And habit comes because you had a good experience that you say, I enjoyed that experience because I did something different. Your
Yeah.
approach was different. If your approach is, let's just go to the event and hope for the best, I'll meet whoever I meet, then that's a social thing. I meet whoever I meet, you come back, it's just an event. But if you go there with the intention, you set in it, my goal is to meet 5 good quality people and have a conversation. And if you're going to an event, either you're going with someone, that's one strategy I use. I always go with a friend because when everyone knows different people, so then he would connect me or she would connect me to people I know and vice versa.
Yeah.
Or if I'd go in an event on my own, then I know the organizer who's invited me.
Yeah.
I'd go and meet the organizer and even ask the organizer, from what you know of me, is there 1 or 2 people you think I should meet?
Yeah.
When they make an, oh, Jatin, meet Gautam. You guys should collaborate and connect because I think there's some lot of things in common. All it takes is some introduction by someone, and then you're able to have a meaningful conversation rather than just say hi, hi.
Yeah. But that's what you're saying makes sense when you're already achieved something in life. The
Okay.
organizer inviting you, or you're going with somebody who already knows some influential people. We might have our listeners who are very young entrepreneurs or just getting there, just started their career. And when they're going into some of these events, they might not know a lot of people. What's your one advice to them? How do they start their networking in an event like this where they don't have the right introductions?
So I would say is look for events either, as I said, target audience is one. There are no shortage of meetups and events that you can, or associations that you can join. And I always find that you can connect with people over a common interest.
Yeah,
So sometimes not only our business, I play paddle every week on a Saturday and Sunday. It started with a group of four. From four, it became 8, 12, and now we're 16 people who meet every Saturday. I join another group on a Sunday, a completely different group. So I have two groups of people. I meet 24 people over paddle. And you just meet, you have fun. By the third, fourth, fifth month, you get to know what do they do. Some are businessmen, some are professionals. So you're meeting through a common interest, but the barriers are down because they're relaxed. You're enjoying a game of paddle,
right,
which is a common interest. So do something which you enjoy. And it could be paddle is one example. Someone else was mentioning he goes for swimming. And he has a group of, I think it's underwater hockey. And he said, you'll not believe it. Just because you meet enough times based on a common interest, there's an emotional connect. By default, the conversation, just like today, happen organically.
yeah.
So that's another easy way for youngsters starting out. I'd say find
Mhm.
interest groups based on your passion,
Yeah.
and that could be anything.
Yeah, but tell me how important it is to network, whatever whatever level that you are, or whatever stage you are in life, whether you're just starting off or you've created something and people know you, you're famous. How important is it to network?
You said it at the beginning of this conversation. Your network is your net worth.
Yeah,
I stand by that. I'd heard that many years ago. And I guess over time, when I reflect back, in good times, it helps you thrive. In difficult times, it helps you survive. And you have a network for multiple reasons. So for me, I'm part of several different groups in the entrepreneur space and the HR space and CEO space. But I feel that I am literally 2 or 3 degrees from anything that I need. In anytime if you need some help or advice on where to go, what needs to be done,
right.
you're part of even a community on a WhatsApp group. So I'm part of a mastermind community where we have a WhatsApp group. I have a core group of 15, 20 people, but I'm a part of a WhatsApp group of 100 people. If I want to know what regulations are there, if I need to know where this can be done, if I need to know a supplier I'm looking for, I immediately get references from that network. So sometimes the network gives me referrals to suppliers. Sometimes it's a strategic partner, someone who's got the same target audience. Sometimes it's a customer,
Hmm.
but it's a support network.
Right.
And the support network, that's where it comes. The bigger your network, the bigger your network, because the more people you know, then you're just a call or two away from reaching a customer, a supplier, and you're saving invaluable time.
Yeah.
And you're also saving mistakes because you're being recommended to someone. It's a network of trust, and trust comes from good
Sure.
quality relationships.
So how many times in a week, if I may ask, do you go out for networking events?
For me, I would say it's an average of, I'd say a month, but let's say 2 to 3 times a week.
2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
so that requires a lot of time, energy, focus. You need to go and show up, dressed up well. So this is a lot of effort. I'm not sure if people understand the power of networking in its deeper sense. A lot of people are not willing to do the effort. And in that sense, they might call, oh, networking is probably overrated. But I think I met you in one of the events a
Yes,
few months ago,
absolutely.
and this is for our audience to know. And we're doing an event in Saudi Arabia on the 16th of July. And I was looking for suppliers in Saudi. And when I happened to meet Gautam, and we had a very about a 10-minute chat, and he introduced me to one of the suppliers with whom I'm now working. And because it's come from Gautam, I know it's a trustworthy vendor. So this is the power of networking, right? Just
Yeah,
one evening, we find a good vendor, and I'm now working with them.
absolutely. Spot on. We met for the very first time in an environment which had 100 people.
Yeah.
I had 100 people. We met. Now you knew the quality of people being invited to that event, that was one reference point that I'm going to meet like-minded, like-hearted professionals here.
Yeah.
But we met for the very first time. We
Yeah.
struck some great conversation. We had a good rapport. You shared exactly Saudi. I introduced you the next day by email. You connected, and we spoke a month or two back, and you said, "Oh, I finalized, and I'm doing a project." And
Yeah.
the fact we're right here for this broadcast, we've only met once, but we kept in touch over WhatsApp. We kept in touch, and here we're having an interview and a conversation today because of that first meeting where there was an emotional connect. You may have met many other people that evening, but how many people have you connected with like we have? So
Right.
that's a classic example of same event, same people. How do you use your time when you network? And if you have good experiences like we've had, you're then encouraged to keep in touch. You're encouraged to go back to the networks as opposed to feeling it was just another day out because it's your value of your time, as you
No,
said as well.
absolutely, absolutely. No, so I think it's well worth the effort. I
Yeah,
think everyone should be attending more networking events and the kind of connections you make, and you never know where you might find help, right?
absolutely.
But social anxiety is a real thing. A lot of
Yes.
people going into these events with the idea that they want to network, but they hesitate making that first conversation. What's your take on that? And is there a way you can get out of the social anxiety during networking events?
Yeah, it's a very, very valid point. We're all got different personalities. We have introverts, we have extroverts,
Yeah.
we have people of different ages, people in their 20s in their career, people who have got more experience in their 60s, different cultures,
Yeah.
especially in Dubai and UAE. It's a melting pot of diverse cultures, diverse ages, diverse groups that are out there. So, to answer your question, really, if I was to be asked specifically by someone who's saying, I'm open to networking, I see value in it,
Hmm.
but it's not my comfort zone, I'd say I appreciate that. I would say find a friend who does network.
Right.
So don't go alone to it. So when even how much ever I love network, I still look for a friend to go with
Right.
because I say, let's go together. We'll attend, we'll meet different people. So one is finding a friend who you can go with. So then you feel that confidence and comfort level. And he or she may be the person who helps make those introductions or be the first person to open a conversation. And you find your groups. And if not, if you happen to go on your own, you're like, how do I start? Simple examples, a lot of these events have an area for coffee or lunch, or they have a table, a round table where you sit. So what happens naturally is if you're on a table with 6 to 8
Hmm.
people, it's a lot less intimidating than going and standing in a room with 100 people. Like, where do I stand? I've seen some people alone
Hmm.
because I'm an extrovert in terms of networking. When I see people standing, I go up to them. I say, you're attending this event for the first time.
Right.
So if you have a few personalities who make you feel comfortable, the organizers sometimes do have those people say, if you see anyone on their own, a mandate is to go up to them and make connection, make sure they're comfortable, and introduce them to someone else. So we do that as organizers. But on the recipient's end, go with someone, or when you sit at the table, sitting next to someone and speaking to someone one to one next to you is a lot more less intimidating than 100 people. So these will be the certain small strategies I see.
Right, right. And of course, when you're networking, you need to have something important to offer as well, right? I mean, let's say, for example, you have a product that's not needed or required by anybody else. Would you then network? Because, as you said, you're looking at making 5 to 6 good connections at the networking event. And this is a numbers game. A lot of people would come to you, talk to you, or you'd go talk to them. But if somebody doesn't have anything substantial as a product to offer, how will networking work in that case?
Yeah, it varies industry to industry, but I think when you go again with the intention of helping, of giving, of
Right.
not what's in it for me,
Yeah.
I, in fact, ask open ended questions about someone from what they do to what they enjoy to their hobbies to where they're traveling. A lot of one or two questions which just relaxes the sort of
Mhm.
experience because when someone talks about a favorite holiday or a favorite movie, it just relaxes the mood.
Yeah.
Then, when you ask them about what line of work you're into or what you're looking for from this event, do you attend these events regularly? What do you look from them? They start opening up that thing, and suddenly they just like if you look at our case.
Mhm.
I heard you mention Saudi Arabia. I heard you mention that I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking to organize an event. My goal was like, how can I help you connect with the right person? Now, you would leave that, say, Gautam seems like a nice guy. He built rapport. He was very helpful. That is not my line of business in Saudi. I just happen to have a trusted friend who can make things happen
Yeah.
in the events, and I connected you. Now, I built what I call the most important bank account. My dad says is an emotional bank account. I built an emotional bank account for Jatin
Yeah.
because I've been helpful and kind and generous, and it's worked out as icing on the cake, you'll have a good thing. Here you invited me to a show. Someone may approach you, say, I'm looking for an executive coach, a trainer, or a speaker. Oh, you must connect with Gautam. He's someone I know and trust.
Yeah.
And so that's really, it's about going to see how many people can you help. Then people will reciprocate
Right.
organically, where it's not about what I do and how can you help me and I'm looking for the sale.
Right.
So networking in summary is a journey. It's not a transaction.
Yeah.
Many times transactions happen over 3, 4, 5 visits. It's not the first one. If you're going there to say, then it's about exchanging cards. How many
Cards.
cards can I collect?
Yeah.
I get endless messages. I met you this event. Can we connect on LinkedIn? There's nothing else in the meeting. That's not breaking bread. That's
Right.
like I'm hunting. I want to connect with the
Yeah.
people. But if I say it was nice meeting you at the event, I really appreciate that story you told me.
Mhm.
You're connecting with the guy. You're building a
Yeah.
professional friendship.
And I think if you're doing that, then obviously you can only do it with 4 to 5 people a night because there is limited time, right?
Yeah,
But the very important things you said, and I'm going to add these two together. One is that you mentioned about paddle, and when you're playing paddle with a group of people,
correct.
it's taken these 3, 4 months of
Yeah,
meeting them, playing together, a sport together, and that breaks the ice. And now it can reach a transactional phase, possibly.
very possibly.
See, and the other thing is that when you're meeting someone for the first time in a networking event, don't just go and sell your services. In
Absolutely.
fact, be there to help and see what you can do for them instead of just going and, oh, this is my product and it's, well, 100 dirhams, you can buy it,
Yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah.
that, right? But all if you combine all of this together with listening, I think listening, if I'm meeting someone for the first time, and if I have a good ear and if I listen, I think that adds up to the entire scheme of things of networking as well. Tell us a little bit about how important it is to listen well in networking.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I mean, empathetic listening. They say listening is the absolute number one strategy, if I can call it, towards building a rapport, towards building trust.
Yeah.
People like to be heard, and they feel when they heard, they feel the person is likable and they feel comfortable. The last thing you want is where someone's just talking nonstop for 10 minutes. However good a speaker I am, you immediately feel disconnected. The guy's only talking about what he does, who he is, and how he didn't even have a chance for me to share a two-way street. In a sales angle, you say the best salespeople, and I go for myself, is that I love have a lot of energy and I love speaking, and I realize that through my energy of speaking, I'm generating opportunities, and I think that's helping me generate new relationships in business. But as I learned over time, actually, when I slowed down and asked questions, then I built relationships and had even more success. And in the listening, not only you build rapport, you get clues in what you like, what you don't like, what you're looking for, what's bothering you, what's painful, and you're able to then respond exactly based on what I've heard. And the
Mm.
person feels he didn't speak about 5 things. He spoke about the one or two things which were relevant to me. So therefore, even that you feel heard and the conversation is relevant and not just a frivolous random conversation. I mean, let's say for example, I've got 5 products.
Yeah.
I could speak about 5 products to you for the next 15 minutes, and you may need one of them, but I bored you for speaking for 15 minutes. Whereas if I asked you a few questions, you'll be speaking, and I'll say, now that I've listened attentively, these 3 are irrelevant for Jatin. They have no meaning. But these two is what I said, Jatin, based on what you've shared, I'd like to share these are 2 areas that I'd love to explore with you. And your attentiveness to feeling interested and in that is higher because you felt heard, because
Yeah.
I listened and I shared knowledge which was relevant, not random and general.
And you can only share that information once you understand what they're looking for, right? Right.
Absolutely.
Or
Questions
else,
and listening is
or it becomes a sales pitch that nobody wants to listen to, right?
correct.
Nobody wants
Correct.
to be sold.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone wants to be heard.
Yes,
Yeah, that's the.
absolutely right.
But when people come to you during a networking event and just do the opposite, where they're selling you, which a lot of people do in networking events, and then the next day they send you a message on LinkedIn or on your WhatsApp. How do you respond to that? Do you even respond? Do you have the time to respond to conversations like this? Because I want to give out a message to people that what they should absolutely not do. So tell us about responding to these messages.
Yeah, I mean, you do get these messages, and if it's on LinkedIn, inevitably I do some quite often accept them. But I have made a mark in my mind that this is someone who is very transactional
Right.
and he's not a relational person. So there's no engagement towards following up. So the exact opposite when I've received messages, and LinkedIn is a really profound platform for
Oh, yeah.
businesses, and it's something I spend a lot of valuable time on. The ones who write to me a message, I in fact reply and then say it'd be great to catch up over a virtual call and have a Zoom meeting with them. So the distinction is with others, I may accept or I may decline the invite. Whereas more importantly, the ones who
Hmm.
had a conversation with me and connected with me and write a message in the, I reply them attentively and move it to a Zoom call. And then from a Zoom call, I moved it to a breakfast. And then from breakfast,
Right.
possibly it leads 3 to 5 touch points into potential business or collaboration or shared value.
Right. No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, is there a networking group that you would advise people who are just starting off that this is a networking club as a starting point, you should enroll yourself in to make a better network?
So, I mean, there are so many networks, but to answer your question, I would say the network that I joined when I started out 25 years ago was a network called BNI, Business Networking International. Is the largest networking or referral building organization. It's a global platform
Yes.
with 1,500 members, I believe, in the UAE, if not more. 10,000 plus members in India, and 250,000 members probably globally. But more important, that's a great place for startups to early entrepreneurs, early like people doing 3 to 5 years of business. It's a network where you get to practice speaking. You get to practice, you get learning opportunities, you get networking opportunities. So it's a safe environment where there are groups of 20, 30, 40, and even sometimes larger groups up to 100. And it's a trusted network. So you are able to get referral partners, suppliers, sometimes customers if you have a consumer product. But that's just a great learning platform where you can go outside your comfort zone in a safe environment and learn and build your business. You then escalate from there once you outgrow BNI.
Yeah.
Then there are more established entrepreneur organizations, EO, YPO, Corporate Connections, to name a few. There's a community I'm a part of there called Mastermind, where it's a hybrid between both BNI and an EO-YP. We meet twice a month. It's learning driven. There's accountability. There's goal setting. There's vision boards. And especially when you got a small team, you crave to be part of a support
Hmm.
network where you're learning, sharing, and you're accountable to achieve your goals other
Right.
than doing on your own. So BNI would be a great place to start.
You still part of BNI?
I'm not. No, I was a part of BNI for 8 years when it started in Dubai 20 years back.
Wow.
I then traveled a lot. I was part of Corporate Connections for 2 years in India when I was there for 5 years.
Right.
And here in Dubai now, I'm part of Mastermind. I'm part of a community called SBC, which is basically it's run by Phil Bedford. It's another network, learning, networking, and focus groups, industry specific groups. So where we meet tables of 12 who are from the media, tables of
Hmm.
12 who are from like industry specific meetups as well.
Right.
So those are
Interesting.
two I'm a part of, and then there are HR associations and groups as well.
So you do still invest a lot of time into these meetup groups. You mentioned Mastermind or the other groups. So you still invest a lot of time, effort into these forums.
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, 2 to 3 times a week, I'm networking. It's a part of my day's work because you have to constantly upskill your knowledge. Today, someone says, Gautam, you've been in business, 25 years. I say, no, I look at myself as a startup with 25 years experience. And they say, why do you say a startup? I said, because if I'm a startup mindset, I'm hungry to learn. I'm open to learning. A lot of people get complacent thinking I'm in business for 25 years. Why do I need to network? Why do I need to go out there? People know me already.
Right.
But you can see trends are changing, AI, technology. The speed of change is faster than it's ever been, ever in our lives.
Right.
So to me, networking helps you stay relevant, keeps you in touch, gives you visibility. But it's networking strategically, mindfully, not networking just to be everywhere and anywhere.
I think that's a clear message from this conversation, and I'm taking a lesson or two is that you need to have a strategy in place.
Yes.
I like the fact that you said that when you meet 25 people at a networking event is just collecting cards
Yeah.
and that will collect dust on your desk. But it's meeting those five important people who you can make an emotional connect with.
Yeah.
And those connections are the ones that last for a lifetime,
Absolutely.
possibly. Right. So, uh, is there one of your contacts that you made through your networking that has made a huge impact in your life? Is there a person's name you want to take, or just tell us a little story about that?
Sure. There are many stories. And because you asked this question, actually, just in the last week, I've shared one story on
Right.
LinkedIn, and that's fresh in my mind. So I'll share that. Is that the founder of BNI is a gentleman called Dr. Ivan Meisner,
Okay.
and based in the US. And BJ Shah, who's the national director of BNI here in the UAE, had invited Dr. Ivan Meisner to Dubai, and he was onwards to India as well. So this would go back about 10 to 15 years. I met him through that trip, and we were already into seminars and in that space. And over dinner, as we were breaking bread, literally, and we had built a good rapport. He saw that I'd supported the event here, and obviously BJ had spoken about me to him, so he knew that this is a long-term member who's been in the membership for 5 years. He's a sort of a active member, and he said to me, "I'd be happy to introduce you to a speaker by the name of Jack Canfield." Jack Canfield is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, which has sold
Oh, yes, of
hundreds
course.
of millions of
Yes.
copies. And I said, I'd love to bring him to Dubai. And Ivan says, if I introduce you, are you seriously interested to bring him, and will you intend to make it happen? I said, yes. Ivan Meisen did the introduction to Jack Canfield. And 6 months later, we hosted Jack Canfield at a venue here in Dubai called Duck Tack, which is the Dubai Community Theatre. And we partnered with Tim Hortons as a sponsor. We had 543 people at that event.
Wow.
That one event was put us on the map in terms of bringing public seminars, just not your regular speakers, to bring a global name. And
That was one of your first
one of our
event with a
first
global name.
with a global name. Because of that, that gave us the credibility to approach many other speakers. We had John Gray Mena from Mars, Woman of Venus. We had Ron Kaufman on customer service. You had Stephen M.R. Covey, Speed of Trust. Marshall Goldsmith, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Brian Tracy was a
Wow.
renowned name.
These are big
All
names.
these names came after we'd brought Jack Canfield. So bringing Jack came from a dinner with a meeting, with an email introduction to him. And obviously, Jack and Ivan know each other well. And I just posted on LinkedIn sharing that as a story. And we had
Yeah.
Ivan Meisner and Stephen M.R. Covey posting on that group. And here we're talking about 12 years ago story. And
Right.
they're commenting on that story today, where I shared my journey, how that triggered multiple things.
So that's how it started,
Yeah.
by breaking
Bringing bread over dinner.
over
Dubai.
networking an event.
Just a dinner event, went up to him,
Mhm.
shared my dream. He said, I'll make the introduction. I then connected with his team, and I came on a reference. The approach, I had approached Jack Canfield before, but that time the approach came on a reference.
Right.
His response to me was phenomenally different and
Right.
impactful, and it became a reality.
Yeah.
We hosted him not only in Dubai, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait. We took
Yeah.
him to India. So we hosted him more than 10 times.
Yeah.
We even did a luxury retreat with him. So that one dinner and that one introduction led to more than 10 events with Jack Canfield,
Oh.
and let alone the other speakers we brought, because they said, oh, we brought Jack Canfield, let's also
Yeah.
attend.
That's interesting that, how much networking can help you in your life, in your career, not only about your career or business, also in your life personally, right? You make friendship. Actually, our early friends happen because of networking,
Absolutely.
right? It's our selection of friends, people in your life is through networking.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's taught enough in our education system. I don't think we understand the power of networking unless you're self-motivated. You've experienced it a couple of times. You'll go ahead and take your time and effort and go for these networking events. But we don't learn about this enough, right? Do you think, are we taught about this enough, or are we not?
I don't think it's taught out there. It's just expected that you learn it on your own.
Self-learning.
Self-learning, and then people have challenges with that. So I think it's something that would be great to bring into maybe from age 16 onwards. If school could have a component of a session, or university, I guess you're 18 plus, but definitely into the education sector come would really help a lot of people, as you said earlier in our conversation, introverts, extroverts, and just creating people to have conversations, and practice asking questions, practice listening, um, making friendships that happen in school.
Yeah.
But you want to bring that into the professional space as well, and that can enhance your career. It can help you get a job.
Yeah.
It can help you grow in your professional career. It help you start a business, and help you grow a business, and help you diversify your business.
No, absolutely.
So the benefits are
Endless.
endless.
So I work with a lot of my friends, people I've known in my
Yeah.
journey, and some people are okay with it, some people are not. As in, some people don't want to work with friends. I enjoy working with my friends.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, in my journey, a lot of my friends have been part of what I do, creating something, and then they moved on to different things.
Sure.
But I truly believe in this power of networking. And I think someone like you, who's written a book on networking, I think, what's your next step? Do you think you want to start something where you can educate people at that early age of 16, 17, Probably I'm just putting the seed in your head right now, in your and you creating something that enhances and tells people about the real power of networking and how it can change lives.
Yeah, it's a great thought, Jatin, and be open to it. At this stage, maybe informally, I do when I speak to not necessarily teenagers, but I was just in a meeting earlier today, in fact, where they were saying there are a lot of entrepreneurs in this community who are startups. They've been in business 6 months to 3 years, and we know how important networking is to build your business.
Yeah,
And it doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. So they've asked me to sort of share success stories like we've done today to that group so that we encourage the startups to enroll
yeah,
and engage and embrace
right.
networking. So I'm doing that informally, one to one, or in these small talks with these sort of startups within our communities. I'd be open to speaking on stage or speaking in groups if it is. I haven't thought of it beyond that.
Yeah,
But whether it's mentoring as a networker or guiding others or doing talks, I'd be very open to that.
right. No, fair enough. What I'm going to do after this session is at least twice a month, I'm going to make a post on my social network about the power of networking
Okay.
so that it spreads a little bit more.
Sure.
And I will make sure that I'm at least attending one networking event a week
Absolutely.
from next week onwards.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
So this is my take from this great session, because even though it's a very simple thing that networking is important, it changes lives. We don't we don't take it seriously. We take it for granted as one of the other things, right? And I think with a little bit of effort and a little bit of planning and strategy, we can really make meaningful contacts in our life that can last forever.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I mean, one thing I'd like to share is that, we spend 70% of our lives at work, it's said.
Yeah,
You know, the 5 days a week, if not sometimes people work 6 days. And it's important to enjoy whatever you do, either as a professional in a career or as an entrepreneur. And to me, networking with like-minded, like-hearted people, even if it's paddle or squash or football or rugby, so whether it's in sport or it's in music or it's in movies or it's in book clubs, find things, and that's also networking. It's
yeah,
networking with people with common interests, even in your personal life, can lead to opportunities of learning in some manner. So to me, it's not about worrying about it being only going to formal networking events in the weekdays, even just making time to join common interest clubs.
there you go.
And
Yeah.
that is there, and realize that's you want to be happier and more fulfilled,
Mm,
and that comes from having quality conversation with like-minded people.
yeah,
So I just want to
yeah.
encourage everyone out there to network, and personally and professionally.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So networking is not only where you're going for a social event or a networking event once every week, twice every week. If you feel that you have a little bit of social anxiety
Yes,
and there's an awkwardness, go and play a sport.
absolutely.
Uh,
Start there.
Go
Start.
watch, collect stamps with people who collect stamps.
Yes.
Do something that excites you, and in that shape and form, over a period of time, you'll build meaningful connections.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely agree.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a very good take. I've started playing paddle recently.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so I'll keep this in mind and build my network around that,
Yeah, yeah. If
about
you'd
that
like to
sport.
join our Saturday or Sunday group anytime,
I'll
let
be
me know.
happy
It'd be
to.
an absolute
Happy
pleasure. You'll
to.
meet some new people with a common
Absolutely.
interest.
Tell us about Breaking Bread just before we end. Where can people get their hands on the book?
So Breaking Bread is available online.
Mhm.
It was available in some of the retail stores, but it's available on Amazon. So that's probably the easiest place to order it. Wherever you are in the world, Amazon is the best and easiest place because
Yeah.
they ship and deliver to your address and location. So that would be the best place. And if you just want some valuable insights, then GautamGanglani.com
Okay.
shares insights about Breaking Bread. So there are some insights there. But otherwise, the book's
Looks
available
great
online.
online.
Yeah.
Great, Gautam. I've had a really interesting conversation with you and a lot of
Likewise.
takeaways, and I'm going to start implementing them because I love to take actions immediately. So, like I said, few things that I'm going to start ASAP, like as soon as we finish this podcast. Anything else that you would like to add, give a message to our viewers before we end the show?
I think we've covered a lot of ground. We've shared some true stories. I hope I've been inspired you to the listeners of this podcast to make networking a part of your life personally and professionally,
Yeah.
and not to worry about the structure. Just start.
Right.
And as you experience it, you will then, what gets recognized and rewarded gets repeated. So it's about starting, it's about showing up. And the moment you have a good experience, you like to do more want of it. I started with paddle once a week. I'm now playing twice a week. It
Yeah.
happened organically. We started 4 people, it grew organically to 16 people.
Well.
So in a year, you're now meeting 24 people every weekend for
Yeah.
paddle. And a year ago, I was meeting 4 people. So that is an example that it grew. You enjoyed the company. Then everyone brought one friend each. Then they brought 2 friends each. And suddenly you're meeting 24 people every week who I
Yep.
don't meet on weekdays. And that's just a paddle example. It could be in any form of networking. Make a conscious effort to step out of your comfort zone once a week. Just
Yeah.
start with that. Experience it. And find someone to go with if need be, but make an effort, and I'm sure you'll reap the rewards personally or professionally.
Yeah.
And go with the attitude of helping, and helping others.
Yeah.
And that's most important. Go with that mindset of abundance, of
Yeah.
being helpful, being kind, being generous.
Right.
And that's it. I think that's
So let's sum this up, Gautam. Few takeaways is power of networking is immense.
yes.
You need to be a giver. So just don't go and sell. Learn, listen. Listening, which is the third
Yeah.
superpower, I believe.
Yes.
Also, the fourth part is that when you need to action it. You need to take action. You need to do it instead of just talking about it. It takes time, it takes effort, but the benefits are endless. So everyone has to do it.
Yeah.
Anything I've
The
missed?
only one thing I'd add to that is, every time you communicate, as we all do, WhatsApp, email, social
Yeah.
media, conversations in person, connect emotionally, authentically, and with meaning. And so that itself will make sure that you are memorable when you meet someone for the first time, or you meet someone again. The classic example, and I'm just repeating it, but when you wish someone happy birthday, as we all do, wish them uniquely. There used to be days 20 years back where we used to get postcards and
Yeah.
letters. Nowadays, you get 100 WhatsApp messages or on Facebook, happy birthday, Gautam, happy birthday, Gautam. I don't even know who wished me, to be very honest. But the 3 people who posted a photo of me with them and wished me, I remember those 3 people. The 2 people who sent me a video of birthday wish, I remember them.
Yeah.
And the 10 to 15 people who called me, I remember them. Why? I heard their voice, I saw a video, or I remembered a picture. So I felt there was an emotional connect with the wishes. The 400 people just wrote happy birthday, Gautam. That's lost. So when you are out there in communicating with family or friends or clients, take a little time to connect emotionally with them, so it adds meaning and it's memorable.
Yeah. Make an effort.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, Gautam. I had a great chat, and hope we'll keep meeting in networking events as
We'll keep breaking
we
bread.
keep breaking bread. Thank you so much for your time.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much, Jatin.